This is the IELTS Listening Test. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 parts. At the end of the test, you will have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Now turn to part 1. You will hear a woman calling a visitor information center to ask about a local festival. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 through 4. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 4.
Good morning, Riverside Visitor Center, Peter speaking. How can I help you today?
Hello, I'm calling to find out what events are planned for the town festival next month. My family and I are coming to stay that week.
Great. The festival begins on the 17th with an afternoon concert.
Oh, nice. Is that the one with the group from the US?
Not quite. They're actually from Canada. They've toured all over North America, and they'll play a range of lively pieces that children will enjoy just as much as adults.
That sounds perfect for us. We all love live music.
On the next day, the 18th, there's a ballet performance by a company called Aurisis.
Sorry, how do you spell that?
Aurisis. They were part of last year's program and got great feedback. Their show this time is also designed for audiences of all ages.
Wonderful. And is there going to be any drama this year? Something funny, maybe?
Yes, indeed. On the 19th and 20th, a local drama group will perform a comedy written by one of their members. It's called Martha's Garden. They'll be staging it in the town hall. It's already been performed several times and received an excellent review in the local newspaper.
That sounds fun. Is it okay for children?
Absolutely. It's mainly aimed at young audiences, so both shows are in the afternoon.
Great. Will there be any dance performances as well?
Yes, also on the 20th, but in the evening. A professional team will present a set of modern dance pieces accompanied by electronic music. The performance explores how people connect with and understand one another. It's titled Echo.
Oh, I like that. It sounds quite creative.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 5 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 5 to 10.
There'll also be a range of workshops and extra activities. Each one will run at least once a day, so everyone should get a chance to join in.
That's great. My husband's interested in cooking. Will there be a cookery session?
Yes, there will. It focuses on preparing healthy meals and demonstrates how to make desserts with far less sugar than usual.
That could be useful. We're trying to get our children into cooking too.
Then there's one designed especially for children. They'll be creating posters showing how the town has changed through different historical periods. The best ones will be displayed in the community gallery.
That's a lovely idea.
And for adults only, there's a toy-making workshop.
Oh? Why adults only?
Because it involves using wood and sharp tools, saws, chisels, that sort of thing. It wouldn't be safe for children to handle.
Fair enough.
As for outdoor activities, there'll be sessions of supervised wild swimming.
Wild swimming?
It means swimming in natural water, for example, in a lake rather than in a pool. There's a lovely one nearby, and trained lifeguards will be on duty. It's suitable for everyone.
Sounds refreshing.
There'll also be a daily guided walk through the woods near the town. The guide's an expert on insects, and he'll explain how they help keep the local ecosystem balanced.
That sounds fascinating.
And if you'd like to keep up with updates about the preparations, the festival organizer is posting regular notes on their blog. You can find it through the official festival website.
Perfect. Thank you very much for all the details.
My pleasure. Have a great day.
You too. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
That is the end of Part 1. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to Part 1. Section 2. You will hear part of a training session for new staff at a large holiday company. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 17. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 17.
In this session of your training, we'll be talking about some of the more specialized types of vacations we arrange at SunQuest Holidays. The travel industry changes quickly, and it's vital to understand how different age groups are shaping today's market. At the moment, the over 65s form a rapidly growing part of our customer base. Each year, more of them are booking longer and more adventurous trips. The smallest group remains the 31 to 42-year-olds, and that figure has been quite stable for several years now. Our largest number of bookings still comes from the 16 to 30s, but interestingly, that group has fallen noticeably in recent seasons. Meanwhile, there's been a strong rise among those aged 55 to 64 who are becoming increasingly interested in travel. As for the 43 to 54-year-olds, their numbers remain consistent, though we had expected a sharper increase by now. One major shift we've seen across almost all age groups is a growing interest in activity-based holidays. Now, I don't mean the extreme adventure trips, like bungee jumping or rock climbing, that some thrill seekers go for. These holidays are usually less risky and more focused on enjoyable activities such as art, music, or cooking. They don't always cost less than traditional packages, often quite the opposite, but they tend to take place away from the main tourist spots. This allows clients to connect with local people and traditions, which many describe as one of the most rewarding aspects. Of course, there's the added benefit of learning or improving a skill, but more often than not, travelers say what they value most is meeting others with similar interests and building genuine friendships that continue after the holiday ends. Let me give you a few examples of SunQuest activity holidays. Our art retreats are run in several beautiful regions of Spain and Portugal, and they welcome everyone, from complete beginners to experienced painters. We already have an excellent team of instructors, and this year we're adding 6 new tutors so that we can offer extra sessions at each location. When it comes to culinary holidays, many companies focus on dishes from the country where the tour takes place, but we take a broader approach. Our clients learn to prepare recipes from a range of cultures, not just one. We also emphasize fresh, locally sourced ingredients and often include vegetarian or vegan options as part of the program. As for our photography tours, they're available in destinations as diverse as Norway, Thailand, and Chile. Groups are deliberately small, usually no more than 8 participants, so everyone receives individual guidance during the sessions. Professional guides lead all excursions, and at the end of each tour, there's a small exhibition of the group's work, giving everyone a chance to share their photos and receive constructive feedback from the tutor.
Before you hear the rest of the training session, you have some time to look at questions 18 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 18 to 20.
Finally, let's look at our fitness holidays, which have become extremely successful. In Scotland and Spain, we offer 1-week general fitness courses designed for participants of all ages and ability levels. Each client begins with a consultation with a professional trainer who helps them create a personalized workout plan. Besides improving physical health, many guests say the program also helps them reduce the stress they experience in everyday life. In Turkey, we run a 2-week program for people who wish to focus on weight control. It includes a customized nutrition plan. But what really appeals to our guests is that the exercise sessions take place outdoors, often right by the sea, far more pleasant than working out in a gym. Lastly, in Morocco, we organize a number of cycling holidays, including a particularly popular mountain biking tour. Bikes are provided, and the routes vary according to participants' ability. We even offer one version of the holiday designed especially for families, which continues to be a top choice among our clients. That brings us to the end of today's training session. Thank you for listening.
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Part 3. You will hear 2 students, Anna and Leo, discussing their plan for a university exhibition about life and literature in 19th century Britain. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 24. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 24.
So, Leo, let's just make sure we both understand what our task is.
Good idea.
We've got to prepare an exhibition for the university's open day about British life and literature in the middle of the 19th century.
Yes, that's right. We'll have some extra hands to help us gather materials and organize the setup later. But for now, we just have to come up with the plan.
Fine. Do you know who the exhibition is mainly for? Is it only for English literature students or for people from other departments as well?
That used to be the case, but it didn't attract much attention. This year, it's being included in the university's open day to help promote the university more widely.
Oh, so it'll be advertised around the city.
Exactly. So local residents can come and learn about what's happening here. Plus, details about it will be sent to people who might apply for admission next year.
I suppose some lecturers and current students will turn up too.
Probably, but we've been asked to focus mainly on visitors and potential students.
Right. So, we don't have to deal with all 19th century writers, do we?
No, we can choose freely. I think we should center it around Charles Dickens.
That makes sense. Everyone's at least heard of him, and many have read his books or seen film versions. It's a good doorway into that period.
Yes, and his novels highlight the terrible living conditions of ordinary people. He really wanted readers to feel shocked enough to want change.
Did he actually take part in social work apart from writing?
He did. He supported campaigns for better education and reforms, and gave lectures. But I'd prefer we stick to his writing itself.
Agreed. Let's keep the focus on the novels.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 25 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 25 to 30.
All right. Shall we pick one topic to go with each novel?
Yes, I actually printed out a list of Dickens's works in publication order. I was hoping you'd agree to feature him.
Lucky for you, I did. Let's start at the top. His first novel was The Pickwick Papers, right?
That's the one. It was a big hit and was turned into a stage play almost immediately. There's even a character who keeps falling asleep. The name of his condition later became known as Pickwickian syndrome.
Perfect. We can make medicine our theme for that one, with some quotes from the story.
Good. Next comes Oliver Twist. It's full of poverty and hardship, but maybe we can focus on something less obvious.
Well, Oliver learns how to steal instead of going to school. That shows how poor children often picked up skills from the streets, since they rarely attended classes.
That's clever. We can link it to education. What's after that?
Nicholas Nickleby, I think. He worked in a terrible school.
Yes, but remember, he also joined a group of travelling actors later on. We could explore entertainment, theatres and public amusements of that period.
Yes. We shouldn't make it all depressing.
Exactly. Now, Martin Chuzzlewit. He travels to America, doesn't he?
He does. And Dickens himself went there shortly before writing the book. Maybe we could relate it to his journeys abroad.
That's a good point. Let's stick with that.
Next is Bleak House.
My favourite. It's a strong criticism of the legal system.
True, but there's also Esther, the main character. She grows up with a cruel aunt, later becomes independent and ends up happily married in her own home. That would work well for showing a woman's life at the time.
Yes, I like that approach.
Finally, Little Dorrit. The father's been in prison for debt for years, hasn't he?
Yes, just like Dickens's own father. We could highlight the section where Mr. Dorrit inherits a fortune and starts pretending he's always been wealthy.
Perfect. Let's focus on wealth for that one.
Great. Next, we'll need to decide on the materials we'll use to illustrate each theme. That might be the hardest part.
That is the end of part 3. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 3. Part 4. You will hear part of a presentation about an agricultural development project in the African nation of Mozambique. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
I'm going to describe a case study of an agricultural project that was introduced to assist farming communities in Mozambique, a country in the southeast of Africa where agriculture is the main occupation. The project focused on 3 rural settlements located in Chiqualaquala district, close to the Limpopo River. This region is extremely dry, with very little and unpredictable rainfall. Because of this harsh climate, many local residents could not rely on traditional farming to survive. Instead, they turned to the nearby forests, earning money mainly by producing and selling charcoal. Unfortunately, this practice was not sustainable, as the forest resources were quickly disappearing. To make agriculture more viable in such a dry environment, the project aimed to utilize the water available from the Limpopo River by establishing irrigation systems that would ensure a consistent water supply for both crops and livestock. The project team worked hand in hand with local government officials to determine the most effective way to carry this out. At the time, there was already one farmers' association operating in the region, so 2 additional ones were created. These groups were responsible for managing activities such as water control, animal rearing, and crop production. Interestingly, the majority of the workforce consisted of women, who played a leading role in most of the agricultural work. To protect crops from being damaged by both domestic and wild animals, it was agreed that enclosed areas would be established. The local community took charge of building these fences, while the project supplied the necessary wire to make them. Once the fencing was complete, the land was prepared for planting. The soil was cultivated for vegetables and grains suited to the dry climate, and the program provided the seeds needed to grow them. In addition, pumps were installed so that water could be transported from the river to the fields through pipelines. However, all the labor required was supplied by the villagers themselves, who also contributed posts for holding up the fencing around the cultivated plots. After the system was fully established, the progress of the project was closely monitored. Farmers soon managed to produce enough food not only for their families, but also for sale. Yet there was a major difficulty. Moving the goods to market proved troublesome because there was no transport available. As a result, large amounts of vegetables spoiled before reaching customers. To solve this, the farmers' associations worked together to arrange training sessions where members learned various methods of food preservation to reduce waste. Another unexpected development soon emerged. Some farmers decided to dig ponds inside the fenced areas, fill them with water, and use them for breeding fish, which provided an important source of nutrition and extra income. Later on, another idea came from the local residents themselves. They began to establish colonies of bees. This new activity allowed them to produce honey for both home use and for sale, bringing further economic benefit to their communities. So, what can we learn from this project? It clearly demonstrates that even in regions with a hot and arid climate, agriculture can flourish if there is access to a reliable water source. In Chiqualacuala, farming output increased dramatically, helping to improve food security and the standard of living of the local population. However, the experience also shows that careful planning and sufficient time are essential, especially during the design stage, because errors made early on can be difficult to fix later. This project is a strong example of how sustainable development can succeed when local participation, proper resources, and long-term thinking are combined effectively.
That is the end of Part 4. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to Part 4. In the IELTS test, you would now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet.